McDonald's, it's the biggest name in chain restaurants and an even bigger reason why my body is shaped this way. After establishing its dominance in the fast food realm as a hamburger huckster, McDonald's went huevos deep into serving breakfast. Americans went nuts for the Egg McMuffin, the sausage biscuits, and the McGriddle. Who needs dignity when you can eat a sandwich where the bread is pancakes? The breakfast menu's immense popularity grew so large, it was even featured in an Adam Sandler movie. In Big Daddy, Sandler resorts to throwing himself in front of a moving car to cheer up a child whose entire meltdown simply stemmed from missing the McDonald's breakfast cutoff time of 10:30 a.m. And speaking of physical comedy, their mascot, Ronald McDonald, is one of the most famous clowns in the world, having been a staple of McDonald's advertising for over 50 years before people started associating clowns with nightmare fuel, and the brand chose to distance themselves from him. Today on the podcast, we're going to look at the rise of the morning offerings of this fast food juggernaut and talk about the origins of Ronald McDonald. I'm also debuting a brand new segment. I'm very excited about it. And then we'll read our favorite Yelp reviews of the McDonald's we went to. Stay tuned. This is the Fine Dining Podcast.
Your table is ready. Take a seat. The flavor of the day is mediocrity. Wouldn't you like to try a bite? Guarantee it'll be the perfect bite. Fine dining. Better than you thought, worse than you hoped. Fine dining. We don't treat mediocre as a joke. Ranking every single place we've been, looking for the perfect 5 out of 10.
I think it's so interesting that Ronald McDonald at some point wasn't the thing that caused the nightmare fuel. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a moment where like, we got to get rid of this guy or we got to ignore him.
There's no moment when I was being made up where I didn't feel like, come on, we should have known sooner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it. And then you can look back at like Bozo the Clown and you can look at all these moments in clown history where you want to say to everyone around, you should be terrified.
Yes.
And the fact that someone just like changed their voice a little bit or added some fangy teeth, that's what you needed.
That's the only modification needed to horrorize this. Yeah.
Like 99% of this is already an absolute trash fire.
Well, speaking of trash fires, hello and welcome to the Fine Dining Podcast, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America. I am your host, Michael Ornelas, and this is the show where I dive deep into the history of our favorite chain restaurants before reviewing them. The subject of this week's episode is the history of McDonald's breakfast and the history of Ronald McDonald. And from one noteworthy clown to another, I'm absolutely delighted to introduce my guest for these episodes. He's the host of the podcast Stand Up and Clown, as well as the monthly live Stand Up and Clown show at the Elysian Theater in Los Angeles. He's a regular member of Stamp Town and can be found traveling and teaching clown in 2025. He's Clown Papa, Clown Daddy, Clown Poppy, but officially he's the Clown Boss Chad Damiani.
Thank you for having me. It's still hard to look at you.
I did this to impress you.
Did you hear my heart slowly break?
I turned down your mic so that it specifically wouldn't come through the headphones.
It's just, we at some point, we'll break it all down.
Yeah, so for those of you not watching on YouTube and just listening, I am fully dressed like Ronald McDonald right now. I've got a red wig that when I looked at the comparison picture afterwards, I realized is all wrong because Ronald McDonald's hair is not curly.
No.
He has more of like a shag.
No, that's just a straight up American Cirque trad clown wig that they're just telling you is a Ronald. Because he had a side part kind of, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a good head of hair. He had like, if you really look at Ronald McDonald.
You don't expect it from a clown.
He really is like the disappointment of a son that the Colonel Sanders, like the hair and the basic face and shape is Colonel Sanders.
Is this the lore we're creating that Ronald McDonald is like the literal adopted redheaded stepchild of Colonel Sanders?
Put them side to side and you'd be like, they could be related.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine Ronald is in the lore, Ronald is younger.
Yes.
But both have gorgeous heads.
Although, to be fair, Colonel Sanders didn't like start KFC and get famous for it until he was in his 60s.
So it all does track.
So Ronald McDonald was probably famous. I forget what year KFC started, but like they were probably on the rise
This is
around
how
the same time.
conspiracies start.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
This doesn't add up.
Hold on.
Actually, it adds up too perfectly. Yeah. So, Chad, in this episode, it's the history episode. We're learning about McDonald's breakfast, which I'm making a specific distinction. We did not review the burger menu or the lunch menu offerings, whatever. We did breakfast specifically. So, and we're also going to talk the history of Ronald McDonald, the character himself. And then I have a new segment I'm debuting that I have asked you to prep for.
I'll be the first one.
You're the first one.
I've got a good one.
Great. And then we're going to read some Yelp reviews. And then next week we will review going to McDonald's dressed like this, you being completely unfazed other than me pulling up next to you in the parking lot, you looking over and just kind of like going, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen too much in general.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, that'll be fun too because it wasn't just a meal. It was truly an experience.
Yes. So I want to ask, before we jump into the history of McDonald's, what is your history with McDonald's? Have you eaten here much? Do you have strong opinions about it? Do you have nostalgia for it?
I'm a little removed from McDonald's now, but as a kid,
yeah,
that was definitely the big treat.
Yes.
The Friday night, and I was raised Catholic, so on Friday nights it would be Filet-O-Fish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because during Easter, because you weren't allowed to eat meat, and absolutely. Back then, Burger King was kind of holding its own. It wasn't quite the shame spiral that it is now.
Right.
So it was one of those two was like a very big deal.
McDonald's for me was where I realized every day I could try and push my mom to take me to McDonald's. So I'd be having it multiple times a week. Like I would be asking daily. And
I pulled something off.
I got it. I got away with the heist of the century. I remember the apple pies were always a thing for me.
Apple pies. And very early for me too, the cones.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it was still ice cream.
They don't have, they have them, but they're always broken now.
Yeah.
And then the Happy Meal toys for me.
Oh.
My mom is a shark when it comes to baby needs something. She befriended the manager like a couple weeks before the teeny Beanie Baby Happy Meal because the Beanie Baby craze got me bad as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Because I was living in Chicago, which is kind of where the heart of it was, that craze. And then the McDonald's Happy Meal teeny Beanie Babies came about. My mom befriended the managers and got like multiple of the whole set and was like locking them down for the other moms in the neighborhood and stuff. And was just like playing that game. So that is like kind of my, with a bullet, my number one memory of McDonald's is my mom scheming to lock down these Happy Meal toys.
This is before your time, but my mom would go in and they would have these specials.
Yeah.
Where if you said double cheeseburger, please, you would get
led into an orgy in the basement. Like what?
You just get like a quarter off.
Oh,
but I mean, no shame at all. My mom would she'd be like, get over here, Chuck, get your brother. Hi. Oh yes. What would you like? Double cheeseburger, please. And she would do the whole.
Was it only when kids did it?
No.
Or was it one per person?
You would have to say it at the register. Now, I imagine if you just said, just give it to me. Like if you were like, they would. Right. But in general, people would go in and they would just say these like phrases to get the discounts and stuff.
Yeah.
And my favorite memories, they used to have sometimes these deals where you get like 2 Big Macs for like $2.
Yeah.
I mean, this is way back. I'm 52.
Yeah.
And one time, it was just when my brother had gotten old enough to drive. And I wasn't feeling well. And my mom sent him to do this. But there's 4 of us, right? My mom, my dad, my brother, and I. So she wanted my brother to do this. She wanted my brother to go into the store, do the deal, then go through the drive-thru.
Do the deal again. What a racket.
So my brother, who's very shy.
Yeah.
He's just in misery. He goes in and there's a new person at the register. So we asked for this deal and it is just a mess. And
like they don't know how to put it in
they don't know
the
how to put it in the
system.
system. They don't know how to do it. And people keep coming over. And of course, normally he wouldn't care. But he knows he has to do the second run through the drive-thru. So it goes on.
Throws off the whole game. He's
throws
just
off
like,
the whole
I'm
game.
anxious.
And now he's like, everyone's looking at he's the center of this thing.
Yeah.
They finally figure it out. He goes in the car. He says he almost comes home, but he goes, no, he knows my mom will be
Power
furious.
through.
Well, what has happened is because this person's messed up so much inside, they move that same person to drive-thru.
No.
So my
he
brother
gets
literally
busted.
hears their voice through the drive-thru. And then it's like, and then just hears, oh, hold on. And now it's all starting again. Wait, it gets even worse.
Oh, no.
So then this goes on again. And he's just in the car. And all he had to disguise himself, like no one would care. He had to put a hat on. And he's in a car.
Uh-huh.
So he's got the hat really low. And he gets to the drive-thru finally after another, like, hold on, I have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And as this person, this very flustered person who has messed up twice already, first day on the job, as they're handing my brother the food, my brother's kind of like hiding himself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's she drops a soda on the car.
Oh, no.
And then she runs around to clean like with a rag. And my
Yeah.
brother's just trying to hide his face for this thing that saved us maybe like $1.50.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he came in, he told us this story. And I remember there was just like, he was telling it to us as if he had just like seen 9/11. Like it was like the most traumatizing thing. And we were like,
Yeah.
paralyzed with laughter. We couldn't stop laughing at how stupid the story was.
That's funny.
Good times.
I like that. All right. So you do have a pretty eventful family history.
Oh, yeah. McDonald's is a huge part
McDonald's.
of my life. Not, like I said, I kind of stopped eating fast food maybe 10 years
Sure.
ago. But, huge.
Well, do you want to know the history of specifically the breakfast of McDonald's
Sure.
and of Ronald McDonald? All right. We're going to jump into this week's Eat Deets.
Eatery details.
McDonald's breakfast was first introduced in 1970 by franchisee Jim Delegati, who began serving coffee and morning items during hours when most locations were closed. His experiment accounted for 5% of his restaurant's business within a year.
It
So
is
just an individual franchisee decides, we'll do breakfast.
I mean, I would also think now it's so interesting to hear that fact because I think if you were an individual franchise that even deigned to,
I know, I was going to say, don't you dare.
don't you effing change a thing.
Yeah.
Like to hear that and be like, one of our most fruitful things is something we have worked completely out of the system. Do what you're fucking told.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's how all of those big corporations are now.
But they love to champion like the hot Cheeto story, or they love to talk about like this one person in the company did this. And then they're like, but right now we would literally fire you before you got out of your car if you thought about it on the way to work.
I think there's like very strict rules against like at Hooters, if you wear the uniform outside of work, it's like punishable by death or something like that.
You know, it's funny because I've never seen someone in one of those uniforms outside of a Hooters. Maybe on
Come over
Halloween.
later.
This is the spot.
I'll hop in one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It has to fit better than this.
Anything would. All right. So, however, it was franchisee Herb Peterson who truly transformed breakfast at McDonald's with the invention of the Egg McMuffin in 1971. Peterson presented the sandwich made with an egg, cheese, and Canadian bacon mixture to McDonald's founder Ray Kroc, who approved it enthusiastically.
Do you think it also speaks to just a different time, right? Like it's such a simple, humble breakfast. Do you know what I mean? Like to see where we're at now. And it's like, look, we don't want people to be tired at work. Maybe this simple offering. Yeah, like it's just because that is
nowadays all the culinary innovations are just like, well, how many Cheetos can we jam pack into?
Can we refry this?
Can we do a Cheetos slushie at 7-Eleven? Like it's like that kind of.
Oh, it's just sheer excess. But yeah, like there's this almost mindfulness in that offer of like, it's very light.
Yeah.
They'll come back for lunch. It'll be fine.
Yeah. By 1976, McDonald's had a full breakfast menu well ahead of its competitors. In 2003, the McGriddle was introduced and became an immediate hit. That's no surprise, but what is crazy is the legacy of the man credited with inventing it. Tom Ryan, who has a PhD in flavor and fragrance chemistry, is the man behind this delicious health hazard, as well as stuffed crust pizza, Jif peanut butter, the entire McDonald's dollar menu, and the SmashBurger restaurant chain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's such an interesting, because he's not a one-trick pony.
No.
Those are all very, like, I was like, here it goes. This is going to be a sweet and savory guy. Like, he's just going to keep riding sweet and savory. But then it went all kinds of directions.
Stuffed crust pizza at Pizza Hut.
Smart.
SmashBurger, like an entirely different chain that has a more upscale identity than McDonald's does. Jif peanut butter out of nowhere. Which, by the way, I don't know what makes Jif different to where it's an innovation compared to...
Maybe that it has no peanuts.
It's made with 0% real...
You wanted to get rid of the one thing that they held you hostage on? The use of peanuts in this thing? I got you.
Just butter. Yeah, I mean, this guy clearly responsible for many deaths.
Oh, yeah.
But... viewed
and
fondly.
Like with Jif kind of again standing out, but like this idea of how do we chase excess?
Yeah.
I mean, really interesting.
All right. With customer demand at a fever pitch, McDonald's rolled out all-day breakfast in 2015, but it created logistical challenges for franchisees, such as increased equipment costs and operational adjustments. Despite these issues, the move initially boosted sales and stock prices.
That was the last time I was eating fast food, probably
2015?
2015. And I remember that all-day rollout.
Is that what made you throw in the towel? Be like, God damn.
Well, yeah,
I can't do this to
now
myself
day
anymore.
Is night and night is day. But you know what it reminds me of is people have said that for years. It's sort of like, as someone who watches wrestling, they're always saying, like, fans, if things aren't going well, well, just turn this wrestler heel.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's what you could turn Hulk Hogan heel, turn John Cena heel. Like,
Never did it.
Or they'll say, like, turn them, like, it's always some massive thing that's like, yeah, let's just shift all the logistics that exist. And of course, and this makes all the sense in the world that they're like, oh, now these employees are like, oh, the literal workflow is being seized up.
Yeah. Well, like I saw a subreddit full of employees commenting on how the all-day breakfast made their jobs harder.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, we have different settings on the different like cooking implements and stuff that we can kind of just set to one thing when we're just making burgers. But when we have to keep like toggling back and forth, it creates this whole, which does read like a microwave.
Yeah.
Like, we have to keep toggling it.
Yeah, when they say toggle, it's like, I don't toggle when I'm cooking on a grill. Do you mean just turning the heat different?
Do you mean the power setting is from a 7 to a 6?
I do think, though, that certain restaurants do it more effortlessly just because I think they're just literally defrosting things.
Yes.
And I do think McDonald's, although like a diaper fire of a restaurant, I do usually, you know, but at least when I used to go, would always feel like, I never felt like I got an old burger.
Sure.
I always felt like, I mean, Wendy's, I think for me.
Well, they're turning around at such a fast rate that it's like, there's no time for the ingredients to go bad. McDonald's is so busy.
Right. And it's just like, oh, they're not going back into the freezer to get more. They're like, they have to keep making it.
Yeah.
But I do remember that happening and thinking, no, this wasn't the end of me having fast food, but also it was this idea of like, I don't want all the options all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, because I can't trust me. Like, you're giving me too much room.
I think too much is the best way to define what, not just fast food, but like chain restaurants in general have become. I hate chain restaurant portions with a passion. I want half the price, half the portion for everything.
Yeah.
It's just, they give you too much, and even in their marketing, they're advertising endless shrimp. And you just see literal raining shrimp on top of a steak, because it's like you order a steak, you get, you know, an actual pound of shrimp or whatever. And it's just like, I don't need that.
For me, whenever I see an ad for unlimited pasta at the Olive Garden, and I was just like, oh, this is what they do before they slaughter you.
Yeah, we are foie gras.
Yeah, like it's like, and also, yeah, the richest possible foods.
Yes.
They are vealing you.
Yes.
But yeah, that specific one, because pasta is so heavy, and just the idea, or if I see like on Instagram or TikTok, someone who's like, I'm going to see how much of this pasta I can eat. I was like, how about you visit your parents? like, I don't know. It's like, I was like, I don't think this is a great use of your, I think you're going to feel terrible
Well,
for
to be
months.
fair, when you are there, you're family. So it's kind of like visiting your parents.
I guess well, I wish I'd made that joke. Then my joke
Sorry.
would have worked so
I
much
thought
better.
about it first.
God damn it.
Yeah. So, despite them seeing a boost in business for those first couple of years that they introduced all-day breakfast, by early 2017, the novelty wore off, and McDonald's reported its first decline in stock since the launch of all-day breakfast.
Isn't that one of those things where you're not sure what variable is causing what? Because like,
that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because right now we're seeing all fast food chains are
tanking,
offering all these like $5 deals, $3 deals. And you could say it's like,
well, they got too greedy.
Oh my God. I mean, I see some of the like pricing.
Yeah.
Which is like the idea of going to a fast food restaurant and spending like $25.
Yeah.
I just like can't even wrap my head around it.
I went to California Pizza Kitchen the other night with my girlfriend. We got one appetizer and an entree each. $72.
That's insane.
I remember when that same amount of food would have been $40, $45. And it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Well, everything, it's that pandemic's
supply line
thing. And then they're just like, yeah, it's okay now. We're just going to keep it this way.
But they're like, yeah, people don't know better. People aren't looking into it. Do your own research. That's what I did with vaccines. It's what I do with everything, Chad.
And again, I did get the vaccine.
Yes.
Despite your many emails.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm happy I did. So,
I mean, if you want the government to know where you are at all times, do it. That's fine.
Maybe I do want them to know.
I mean, you keep your phone on you. They know. They know. So, no surprise, but health concerns are a recurring theme with McDonald's breakfast. The bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit packs 450 calories and just under 1,300 milligrams of sodium, and the big breakfast with hotcakes boasts over 1,000 calories and the full daily recommended fat intake.
Well, it's just nice to know that you've got that out of the way, though.
You're like, well, that's my calories for the day.
Calories,
I don't have to worry about eating the rest of the day.
No, I just have to find vitamins, minerals. Like, that'll be easy.
Supplements, Healthier options do exist, though, such as the Egg White Delight McMuffin, which has only 260 calories and lower fat content.
I mean, it's gross.
Yes, that is kind of the thing.
Also, like, if we're going to do a pros and cons,
yeah,
the Egg White Delight is like, I mean, it just sounds like also like your nerdiest friend, something that they'd call themselves, like the blandest person would be
I'm the parfait.
Yeah.
Yeah. McDonald's has pledged to use only cage-free eggs in North America by 2025, reflecting a commitment to more ethical sourcing.
That's so interesting because
in North America.
But also, I mean, they're just like, not with their beef, though.
One thing at a time.
Okay, slow down, Chad.
Yeah.
But it's just like, we're being more ethical. Look over here. Like, but God, could you imagine like the amount of like unethically slaughtered cows that McDonald's is responsible? If there's like, if you believe in sort of some sort of karmic,
yes,
unparalleled amount of like bad karma coming their way.
I love how much this is teeing up the next fact.
Oh.
Although it's not to do with beef and it's not as unethical, but it is kind of just a crazy statement on the overconsumption of the footprint of McDonald's. So this is the craziest tidbit I found, highlighting the scale of the breakfast operations. McDonald's uses over 4% of all eggs produced in the United States.
Oh my God.
That means 1 in every 25 eggs in America is used by McDonald's.
Just the idea that like people are sourcing that many calories from this place, like in their daily lives.
Yeah.
It's just,
well, there's over
sad.
41,000 McDonald's locations nationwide.
And
sorry, not nationwide, worldwide.
And you do see, I have one near where I live, and there's always like still a line, like not like an In-N-Out line,
right?
But they're still very busy all the time.
It's just reliable, and at some point, recognizability matters more to people than anything else. It's just like, you do know what you're going to get with a McDonald's. And even though it's not great, it's fast and it is consistent.
Absolutely. I mean, like there's a level of like settling whenever you eat that, but there isn't surprises.
Yeah.
You know, there isn't this idea of like, but then at the same time, they do seem to want to offer all these new things all the time.
Yeah.
So people still kind of want that too. So
yeah,
that's a huge number.
Yeah. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
1 in 25 eggs goes to McDonald's.
That just makes me sad.
So outside of our country, McDonald's breakfast offerings vary widely. In Saudi Arabia, you can find a halloumi muffin. For those who don't know, halloumi is a cheese with a very high melting point, so it's often fried or grilled and used as a meat substitute.
Can I tell you what I thought was going to happen there? And it just shows how little I know about the world. Is that you were going to be like, a halloumi muffin, and I'd say, what's a halloumi? And you'd be like, I don't know, halloumi or you. You know, it's like going to be one of those things where you
what
like...
am I from vaudeville times?
Yeah, like you trick me into saying halloumi. And
I guess I am wearing literal, like,
you're literally dressed
colors.
like a... But
I look like the wrestler Tugboat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or just the shirt that I'm wearing.
I like to think of him as the Shockmaster, but that's fine.
Great moments in wrestling history. All right. Japan serves a Mega McMuffin with double sausage and bacon, which is just the most American sounding thing. So I'm surprised we don't have that here.
I just always think too, when you're dealing with like those kind of meats, when you double them,
what are you gaining?
It's
kind of diminishing returns because a bite of it is the flavor and the flavor is overwhelming.
Yeah.
So you don't need a ton. And
like,
I love bacon.
It's like if you had a cake and you're like, quadruple icing. You're like, what? God, no. Why? So wait, I have to, there's as much icing as cake now. You're like, God, no. That's insane.
Yeah. I'd try it though.
Okay. All right. You're going to cut it in half.
I don't know if I'd like it, but I'd be like, yeah, sure. Challenge eating. In India, the Veg Supreme McMuffin caters to vegetarian preferences. It features a grilled patty made of spinach and corn, along with a tangy mint mayonnaise, tomatoes, and onions.
I want to try that.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'll like it, but I think that sounds at least like that. Doesn't it sound like someone really put some thought into it?
Yeah. The mint mayonnaise sounds interesting. Veggie patties in general, I just struggle with because anytime you're trying to replace a thing, I would just rather have the thing, like meat substitutes.
But I would argue a spinach corn substitute, because I'm of this mind with Impossible Burgers. I don't mind one once in a while, but like you, I feel like, well, this is just trying to taste like meat.
Yeah.
But when I used to have veggie burgers growing up, they were just something else.
Right, which is what I think they should be.
I also feel like, let's just have it be something else. And I think that could have a different flavor.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of like meat substitute burgers were like a lot of black beans and lentils, and they just would be more earthy tasting. Yeah.
And Australia offers an English brekkie wrap with eggs, bacon, sausage, and barbecue sauce.
Huh. I don't like the name.
Yeah, I don't like that it's the English brekkie wrap, unless it's on an English muffin. That's the only thing.
But isn't brekkie kind of a cutesy way to say breakfast?
That's the slang for breakfast in Australia.
So, but would like a grown adult say brekkie, or would only a child?
No.
Okay, then I don't know this.
Adults in Australia will say brekkie.
Oh, I would still judge them harshly.
Yeah.
Like,
there's so much about their language that is worthy of your ire.
Yeah. But there is just something about like cutesy ways of saying things I really, as someone who does so much stupid stuff professionally, that I should be okay with.
Nails on a chalkboard to me too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move past breakfast and into the mascot history. Barry Klein, an advertising executive for both McDonald's and the Bozo the Clown television show in the 1960s, introduced Ronald McDonald by merging the two. The original design featured a McDonald's cup for a nose, a cardboard tray hat filled with toys, and a tray on his waistband that magically produced hamburgers.
What?
And I have
to see a picture of this. Oh my. They're going to see this.
Yes. This will be on screen.
Sure about
but describe what you're looking. I mean, I literally just read what it is.
What I'm describing is I have somehow found my way into a traumatized child's mind. and I am going through the deepest, darkest recesses. This cup nose makes me feel like underneath is no nose. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just like those two holes that happen when someo's like they're
like
badly,
a Voldemort type
a Voldemort situation.
Yeah.
The hair's better than yours. No offense.
Not my real hair.
Well, I was just going to leave it at that.
Oh, no.
I wish I could see this belt, which is not in this picture.
Utility belt,
the utility belt full of burgers.
Magically produces burgers, which is alarming.
Yeah. Also, it's just like,
That feels like the hot bag that you see on the side of a bike that's picking up your DoorDash order. Like, but that fashioned into a belt.
Like, are you going to have a Frosty from that belt? Like, where's the line? You know what I'm
There's
saying?
a ketchup dispenser.
Yeah, you're
pump.
like, it's like, open your mouth. I got more for you.
Oh, God. Though inventive, the look was deemed excessive, you think?
Yeah.
Willard Scott, a former bozo and later a Today Show weatherman, became the first Ronald McDonald, that one that we just saw, in 1963. Michael Coco Polikovs, another Bozo alumnus, revamped the costume, introducing the now iconic yellow gloves, which were meant to resemble fries, and a bright red wig, modernizing Ronald's look while maintaining McDonald's red and yellow brand colors.
Yeah, how do we make this guy more modern?
I mean, when
Ginger?
This is the jumping off point.
I know, but like the red hair, like just the idea of like, we got to give this guy some red hair. We got to bring him into the...
He needs to look like an orphan out of the 20s. That'll be modern.
Yeah. You know, when you mention Willard Scott too, it's like more than just a Bozo alum. He's like one of the like bozos that created the Bozo craze.
Yeah.
He was like a great Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
Which is so funny that it seemed like he had no connection with this as he like moved on and just became like the beloved old weatherman.
Right.
And made millions and millions of dollars.
Distanced himself a little.
There was no like joking around, was there? I mean, if there was, I never saw it. It was just like, he was just like this sweet old uncle. I was like, this guy was like,
what do we have range as people?
Yeah. I'm this now.
Yeah.
That's funny. I want to wear that as a t-shirt. I'm this now. And it's like, so whatever, if you talk to me about anything that happened in the past, I'm not interested.
I'm not hearing it. Yeah. McDonald's has emphasized fitness in Ronald's portrayal since the 2000s. This pivot includes dressing him in sports attire and positioning him as a balanced, active lifestyles ambassador.
Boy, you know you're serving some hot garbage when you have to come up with a phrase, balanced, active lifestyles ambassador. Like, not just like, you can't say like, he gives a shit about, he cares about his body. He's fit.
It's, hey, let's put a sweatband around his forehead and have him holding a tennis racket.
Nothing even close to like healthy. You can't say anything close to that because then you're going to get rained down upon. So it's like, what is it again? Active, balanced lifestyle ambassador?
Balanced, active lifestyles ambassador.
I mean, is that even an acronym?
BALA, Abala. He's a bala. Dumb. His character also adheres to strict rules about behavior and interaction, such as avoiding hugs to respect boundaries.
Avoiding... Sounds like other stuff's going on there.
Yeah.
One, it's like so funny. It's like no one wants to be hugged by like someone who looks like an American circus clown. For the clown to be like, I don't like it either.
Yeah. Just throws his hands up. I'm done with it. Ronald McDonald was once surrounded by colorful McDonaldland characters like Grimace, the Hamburglar, and Birdie. Grimace, initially depicted as a milkshake thief, was rebranded as a lovable sidekick.
I love that whole Grimace shake thing that happened. That was one of my favorite trends.
Summer 23.
I just thought some of the directions people went with like the horror show of drinking the Grimace shake was some of like the most innovative fun extensions of thought and stuff like that. Yeah, I watched them incessantly, and like most of them would disappoint you, and then you just run into one. Yeah. And it would be like a Lars von Trier movie. It would be like 5 minutes long, and you're like, this is fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Do you know what Grimace is? Like his design?
Oh, I don't.
He's a sentient taste bud.
Okay, you caught me. Not words I expected.
Like literally papillae, the like purple knobs on your tongue. That's what the Grimace is.
But why is he grimacing?
Well, if you put something bitter on the taste bud, you grimace.
So that's what he's decided. He could have been
the sweet. He could have been,
well, I mean, just that he could have had a positive reaction to whatever he was dealing with.
Come on, we know what he's dealing with. Yeah.
He's dealing with that old Ronald McDonald food belt. He's like, no more.
Please.
Stop feeding me.
He's grimacing at the ketchup pump. That's why is it right at crotch level? So most of these characters did disappear by the early 2000s as the advertising evolved, which honestly, I don't think was necessary. I think people had...
I love those characters.
I don't think there was any reason to get rid of them.
I will say that, do you know, what was the Hamburglar in terms of ethnicity?
I don't want to go into this.
No, I'm saying
I know.
You do know.
Well, the original ad for him was very on the nose anti-Semitic.
That's what I thought too. I've never. I don't know this, but I was like, there was something about the Hamburglar that always made me feel very uncomfortable. And it wasn't that he was a thief; it was something else.
They changed his whole face design to be way more, I think, like a kid.
Okay,
was the new direction they went with it. Originally, it had a big nose.
Yeah, there was something...
and they were calling him crafty.
Oof.
And there were just so many dog whistle terms. I'm not going to play it here, but go look up the first Hamburglar commercial.
I remember seeing
direct.
I remember seeing a commercial where after he had stolen a bunch of burgers, he then invited the gang to his son's bar mitzvah. And I was like, that's there's no denying what you're saying now. This was too far.
He was reading from the Torah while eating burgers.
Yeah, no, I can remember seeing it and just there's so many things from my childhood that I remember where it's just there was some part of me that was like, this isn't right. But it was just happening and it was on national television. And that was one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so, but it is it's nice to hear it and know I'm not crazy.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, so I literally did a Patreon episode in July of 2023 covering the Grimace Shake and that whole meal.
Yeah.
We do actually play the first Grimace commercial, the first Hamburglar commercial, and kind of talk about all this. So it's funny that you brought up that question about the ethnicity.
And now you know I'm not a Patreon supporter.
Or that's where you got it. You're like, I heard it somewhere.
Yeah, it could be that.
So, lastly, part of the reason you don't see Ronald McDonald around so much anymore, the viral sinister clown sightings of 2016 caused a further decline in Ronald's visibility. McDonald's reduced his appearances to distance itself from the cultural backlash against clowns.
I liked how you said that because it sounded like Ronald did it.
Well, no, but
but McDonald's did it.
Look, the stock in clowns went way down.
Oh, no, and I 100% hear you, but just in the way you said it made me laugh because it's they were like, Ronald, we've got a bunch of, and he's like, you know what, guys?
Oh,
you kind of said it
I'm going to bow out.
Yeah, I got some family.
I built up some vacation
in Orlando.
Days. I'm just going to take that. Yeah.
There's a really interesting thing with clowns right now because there's so many ways to be an embarrassing clown as a professional clown. And on Facebook, one of the only reasons I go there, other than to see high school friends melting down over various things, is there's a community Facebook page called Clowns Only. And a lot of times there's really hot debate between what are called trad clowns.
Uh-huh.
And that's I make balloon animals and I go do kids' parties.
And I have a round red nose.
Yeah. And I have this great look. And scare clowns who, create looks or work at not scary farms. And they don't quite get they're trying, but they have real struggling to get along.
Yeah.
Because especially the trad clowns are you cost me my career.
Oh, wow.
Now people are scared of me and they're like, well, no, we're just doing it different.
I don't know if I agree because I feel the nightmare clown came from people being scared of trad clowns.
And that is the irony of it all.
Yeah.
Is because what happened is it stayed too long.
Yeah.
And anything, look at all these horror movies you look at.
Yeah.
And it's a boy from Victorian times.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's anytime something from the past is brought into the present and treated as if
an oddity.
It gives us a chill.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for, John Wayne Gacy.
I get so spooked whenever I see a penny farthing.
Oh yeah. I saw one on the way to your place. But there is like, I mean, it's just so tropic that anything like you just see like somebody like in like Dust Bowl clothing or something like that, and you're just like, oh, that doesn't belong here. Like, and that's what it is. It's the simple feeling we get of like, and then when you like put some grease on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and it's no shot on like people who made a living as trad clowns either. And like, they're doing their best and they have this act that they've developed, but there is a feeling like that you're asking people to come with you to a place that no longer exists.
Yes.
And that's that can be whimsical, but it also can be terrifying.
Well, and it's just a matter of recognizing that as fact and not being in denial of it. And then you can work with it.
Yeah. And also it's like, as artists, like if we don't find ways to like kind of inch forward in some way, it doesn't mean like completely changing who we are and our look and this and that.
Oh,
like, it's like, then there is just this sort of like, well, then we have to deal with things like novelty or being out of place. Like, it's just like, we just have to deal with it. And that doesn't mean that we don't have an audience. I was just in Atlantic City a month ago. I took my parents down to see one of the Spiegel World shows because, I freelance for them. And, there's all these doo-wop bands. I mean, we're talking about bands where everyone is in their 60s and they're singing songs they were singing 40 years ago,
Yeah.
Well, like not in the 60s, I guess.
60 years ago.
60 years ago. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I think we found another conspiracy here. No, but
math
conspiracy. But like, it's this thing that it's like, oh yeah, there's still someone who wants to stay in the past.
Yes.
And if that's the audience you want, but you can't be mad at people in the present.
Right.
If they don't want to go back with you, So clowns, come at me.
Okay. And then lastly, today, while Ronald rarely appears in commercials, he does remain the face of Ronald McDonald House Charities, which provide housing and support to families with sick children. So while he's no longer prominent in the company's marketing, the charitable work in his name is Ronald McDonald's enduring legacy. And that'll do it for this week's. Oh, yeah.
I just want to say that it's good to know, with how scared people are of clowns now, that Ronald McDonald is still finding a way to be close to sick children.
And that will do it for this week's Eat Deets. Okay, Chad, you've just heard about everything that goes into building a successful restaurant brand from the ground up, and you've obviously eaten in restaurants before. The next few minutes are all about you and your vision for a chain restaurant dining experience of your very own. This is the restaurant of your dreams.
You're going to love this.
No. You sing the next line of the song.
Oh, start. Could you
This is the restaurant of your dreams.
It's even better than you believe.
Wall decor you've never seen before. This is the restaurant of your dreams. No, we both overcorrected the harmony.
Oh,
whatever.
God damn it. You've given me so much direction,
Chad.
And then there's a song I know nothing about. So there's
Chad,
so
this
many
is the
things.
first time this segment's ever happening, and I wanted to see what would happen if I just started singing at you.
As a former clown teacher of yours, I can't be mad at you for executing a bad idea and seeing what happens. So I guess
about vulnerability.
Congratulations, I guess.
Thank you.
That we're both going to look terrible in this particular clip.
I'll cut it together so it looks worse. So Chad, what I'm going to do, ask you to tell me about the restaurant concept that you yourself want to see in the world. It must be practical, delicious, memorable. 3, 2, 1, go.
Have you heard the story of the tiny diner?
Oh, no.
I'm going to take a chance here.
Yes, do it.
I'm going to introduce you to the tiny diner. That's me. I'm the tiny diner. What, you wanting some food? Not sure, but have a lot of tastes that you'd like to have? Welcome to the tiny diner. I want you to think of tapas.
Sorry, can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Is it like diner as in an establishment is tiny, or is that a tiny man?
Already you're seeing
the diner.
So the mascot is a tiny little person who wants to eat at a restaurant.
Uh-huh.
That's the tiny diner. But like there's a double meaning.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is I want to take the tapas idea.
Yeah.
Small plates.
Yes.
Like a traditional Greek or Italian diner. So you can order a very small 1 egg Greek omelet with a little bit of potatoes and like a little piece of toast. And like, so you can then go to a diner, which has like normally this is the problem with diners. Because I was just at a bunch recently.
Yeah.
You go, the menu essentially
it's a book.
Yeah, a book by Thomas Pynchon. Like it's too long. It's like 500 pages.
Yes.
Right. And so many things. And you're hungry and you're like, oh my God, this all looks amazing.
This is an assignment though, to whittle it down.
Yeah. Right. And you're going through. And then of course, every plate is obnoxiously huge. Like it's more than you could possibly want of whatever you've ordered. And I think in other culinary worlds, we've taken on like dim sum and tapas and like this idea. But like what I want, I can't have a tiny little grilled cheese sandwich. I can have with a couple little fries.
Yeah.
And then maybe split it with a buddy. And then he goes, you know what? You get the tiny grilled cheese. I'm going to get the 1/4 club, turkey club.
The quarter club.
The quarter club. So what you end up with your friends, now imagine you've been drinking all night. You've been partying all night. It's 2 a.m. and then you go out with 6 friends and get tapas from the tiny diner. That's very important that's
you have to say it that way. Is the mascot named Tony Diner? Tony Diner.
Well, he kind of like
Tony Diner.
I think over time, Tiny Diner probably become Tony Diner.
Yeah.
But like this idea of like the commercial being like these drunk college kids are coming into like a diner in New Jersey at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And you hear, "What's your step?" And then they look down and they're like, well,
how can I help you, lad?
Yeah, I know you boys are hungry.
Yeah.
But take your time. And then they get the menu and like, we like all of it. We don't know what to get. And it's like, why don't you try a bunch?
I love that this is like bringing in like cereal mascot vibes.
Yeah.
Like this is the Lucky Charms guy.
Yeah.
Went into a side gig.
Yeah. But here's one of the things though, that like there is like an element to the tiny diner, which I haven't even gotten into yet.
Oh, okay.
There's like kind of like some dinner theater going on in that like, as you're having these tiny plates, because you end up staying longer because you get to try a bunch of stuff. You got to do a little breakfast, do a little lunch, do a little dinner. But then there's like a little tiny payphone, and at one point, just as like part of it, like the showmanship of the restaurant, he's just like, "Let me just talk to the kids for a second. Just put them on the phone so I can hear them breathing, even if they're asleep." But no, just that like there's little dramas that play out because the tiny diner puts on a good face.
Yeah.
But he's also dealing with a lot of his own personal problems. So you might see him on this little payphone, like, and you just like, and if you're not near, you don't catch it, doesn't affect your meal.
Is this like tiny bookies are coming for him?
Well, it's it's like a tiny stories happen. Like there's like tiny tales being told by the tiny diner. But I mean, that's just like an added bonus. Really, what I was just at House of Pies the other day.
Yeah.
Most people, they eat like 20% of their meals.
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems like such a waste. It's like, I don't think they were full even. I think they were just done with those things.
Yeah.
And diner culture right now does not really, when you encourage, it doesn't encourage like, why don't you all try something?
I think it's very funny with your position as a teacher that the word encourage was tough for you to think of. It matches your style so well.
I had to look it up. I was like, there's a G in this?
Yeah.
I don't hear it. I don't hear any G's. But yeah, like I was like, oh, these people might still be hungry. And if we'd all ordered from the tiny diner, maybe we would have all gotten to taste. I could have had 1 fried shrimp.
Yeah.
But guess what?
We don't need endless shrimp. We need an accidental shrimp.
An accidental shrimp just slides in.
Like the accidental curly that you get in your straight fries. And you go somewhere. Oh, not a pube.
That's what I saw.
No, not a pube.
I was like, at this restaurant, I was like, that's going to ruin my meal.
No. When you get an accidental curly fry in your order of straight fries.
I'm so excited. In your meal.
I just love the feeling of flossing when I don't mean to.
But yeah, you know what I'm talking. Like also, like so many fried foods and sweet foods. We don't need a big piece of Bavarian cream cake.
Yeah.
We need a tiny thing that like is 3 bites.
Yeah.
And then guess what? We'll order another.
I don't even know if it needs to be that. I want doll food.
There you go.
I want if it's a tiny diner, I don't want small. I want tiny.
But yeah, like so that's my idea, and I think diner tapas would be a monstrous success.
Yeah. All right, Chad. Well, that was one more time. Let's see if we can hit this note. The restaurant of your.
It's so hard to follow because I don't know what the original beat was. All right, here we go.
This was the restaurant of your dreams. You can do the harmony.
Dreams. Can I?
Crushed it.
Can I?
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Chad. Now that I know everything you think a restaurant should be, I want to turn to Yelp and see what others expect from a restaurant, specifically the McDonald's we went to in this week's Yelp from Strangers.
We need a little Yelp, a little Yelp from strangers. A 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4 or 5. So get a little Yelp, a little Yelp from strangers. A little Yelp. Give us those complaints while you literally whine and die. Yelp!
All right, this is Yelp from Strangers, our segment where we turn to Yelp and read out our favorite 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-star Yelp reviews from the very McDonald's that we dined at. Chad, do you mind if I start us off by reading the first review?
Of course.
5-star review.
This is from Peter X from Los Angeles, California, December 7th, 2023. 5 stars. I stopped by this McDonald's tonight to get a large Coke before heading to the restaurant to eat dinner. So he stopped by McDonald's to get a drink on his way to a different restaurant.
I was just trying to break that down. That's interesting. Also, why not like so much easier, like a 7-Eleven? Like,
yes.
Yeah, it'd be so much easier to get a drink differently.
Mm-hmm. I figure getting a large soda here would be cheaper than getting a soda at the restaurant.
Interesting. Also not true, probably.
Which it was. No, he said it was. I saved like half the cost, so it was worth it since it was on the way. When I pulled into the drive-thru, there was no cars at all, so I was able to basically pull up and put in my order. The drive-thru menu screen was kind of broken, but it didn't matter to me since I only got a drink. I paid at the first window and then got my drink at the second window. They accommodate my request for light ice and also filled up my soda all the way. My interactions with the employee was simple and they were polite. The drive-thru here only have one lane, so be aware of this, and the plaza they are in is basically one way. And
isn't that every?
Yeah.
Are there 2-lane drive-thrus?
No.
Okay.
But the craziest, that's the full review.
Can you pass?
That's the whole review. The craziest thing, though, he uploaded 7 accompanying photos.
Wow. You really had a good experience.
And it was just different vantage points of different spots in the drive-thru, like corroborating his story of like, see, there weren't other cars. See, it was a small lot. And then one photo of his drink.
It is light ice.
This guy wrote a full Yelp review, 5 stars with 7 photos to buy 1 Coca-Cola on his way to dinner somewhere else.
By the way, on my way to dinner somewhere else is like a Tom Waits song.
To me, that is crazy.
It's crazy, but let me say this. In a way, it's like very functional and something that people would normally not review that is like very much part of an experience. So is this person clinically insane? Yes.
Yes.
But is he providing a service? This is
debatable.
I mean, that was light ice. I want to go back.
Okay.
I would have had to take his word for it. I do love the idea, though, of a 2-lane drive-through that's two ways.
Both ways.
That's both ways. Beep, beep. Yeah, listen, I gotta go back.
That would be absolute chaos.
I just love to see it, like, from the clown in me would love to see that run for a week and just see how many car accidents there are.
4-star review.
It is from Jada L. from Burbank, California. I recently got a sandwich here called Filet-O-Fish. Oh, interesting. It was very tasty and well made. It had a dollop of tartar sauce and is served on a warm sesame bun. The fish is breaded and appears to be steamed, though it could be fried. Oh my God.
They're not.
It's not a steamed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. I also noticed a chicken sandwich on the menu. I did not try it this time, but I hope to someday. Okay, good. I did not give this establishment 5 stars because they do not provide bread service. This is not
why
real.
I picked this one.
While you wait for the main meal.
What? Like, what is your expectation? This
Bread
is a
service.
McDonald's.
There is a small window to the side of the restaurant where you can place your order while remaining. Where is this person from?
She's never been. Like, the concept of a drive-through is foreign. The expectation that McDonald's has bread service, it's just we found a person actually living under a rock.
Oh, this is also interesting. This is a nice option if you have an appointment.
Did she make one?
Well, I think she's saying if you have an appointment after or like you're headed to an appointment.
You're on your way to an appointment.
I know what you're saying, like
a reservation.
So this is someone potentially from another country or culture.
It says her profile is from Burbank.
Yeah.
Like,
and also it feels like if you've even managed to like gain residency, let's say you're just new to Burbank from somewhere else.
Yeah.
That this experience of like, I understand maybe you have not had a Filet-O-Fish.
Sure.
But like expecting bread service from a fast food restaurant, bread service.
It made me laugh so much when I saw it. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is
really good.
But and like the verbiage of like, oh, and they have this great thing, a small window on the side of the building you can access with your car.
Also, the way she explains the drive-through is not really like it is. You can access it with your car, but it really doesn't say what it does.
Right.
Like,
you can peek in.
Yeah, like it says like access could be so many things.
It's like at Din Tai Fung where you can see them rolling the dumplings ahead, like, oh, like a zoo.
I do feel like, to her credit, she could have easily taken off 2-3 stars for no bread service.
She could have.
But she didn't. 4 stars is still a very good score for a steamed fish sandwich.
Did you like those reviews? You can get 3 more over on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/fine dining podcast for the full Yelp from Strangers segment and an exclusive fine dining episode every single month. And that's part 1. Stay tuned next week as we give our thoughts on eating at the McDonald's you just heard reviews about. We got breakfast. I was dressed like Ronnie McD. We'll go into everything that was good about it, everything that was not good, and everything that was just there. That'll be in 1 week's time. In the meantime, Chad, where can people get more of you online?
I am on Instagram at the Chad Damiani, and my link tree is chad.damiani, and that's where all my classes, shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm traveling a bunch in 2025, so definitely follow me and check it out.
I will say his live shows are just a blast, always. I've gone to a bunch of them, and I will continue to go when you are in town. I'm sad that you're traveling next year because I'm like, I know what that means for me personally, because I want to plug in more to the community of what you've got.
I am the heartbeat
here
of this community. If you, a recent article in the LAist called me the father of modern clown in Los Angeles.
I called you Clown Daddy and Clown Papa.
Yeah, I heard it.
So
right to my face.
Right to your face. I didn't need an article to do it. I didn't need to be like, I hope he sees this later. I told you.
Thank you.
Awesome. And you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Fine Dining Podcast. You can get all 5 of the Yelp reviews on my Patreon. Otherwise, you just get the 2. So go check that out. And we're just going to be sitting here waiting on our table for 1 week's time. Stay tuned next week.
Have a fine day.
Waiting on our table, the step is done and we had some fun. Now we're waiting on our table, join us next time, we're stuck in line. Waiting on our table, we're so hungry, tummy's grumbling. Waiting on our table,
Have a fine day.